Now, before we start into what is feature engineering, we need to actually understand what is a feature. So until now, you already know we have data which we give as an input to the model we choose. And this process of finding the model is called as ML modeling. The process of training the data on the model we choose is called as training, right? So it's like when we train this thing, we get a trained model. Now let's focus a bit on the data alone. In data, we actually have two things. We have number of examples, and there is one more important thing which is called as columns. Okay, so it's like the data in machine learning. Generally, it looks like a Excel sheet or a SQL table. We have number of rows and we have number of columns. And we are trying to predict one of the columns from as a combination of the rest. Okay, now let's try to think about what is a feature in terms of actual data science problem by trying to understand data model and train model thing. Let's go to kaggle.com. Kaggle, which I hope you already know, is a place where all different types of competitions in data science are hosted. So let's take a look at compete section for a competition and let's just choose one randomly. We have $100,000 thing, NFL big data. We have a motion prediction for autonomous vehicles, research football, rock paper scissors game, hash code archive, volcanic eruption, two sigma, Titanic. Oh, let's choose this prediction of future sales. What is the problem here? You want to find what is the number of sale of a certain item in future. So we are trying to do the demand forecasting. So let's take a look at the data and let's open the details of here. So the data which is given is like this. We have ID, we have shop ID, we have item ID, we have item category, we have the count sold for that day, item price, date block number, we have item name, shop name, and category name. These are all what? These are all the number of columns. What are we trying to predict? The total is at a certain day number of total sale happening for that. Now, these all columns are nothing but feature for this problem because we actually use them towards the final prediction of a problem, which in our case is find the number of sales happening at a certain future date. So what is a feature? Feature is nothing but a column. Feature is what? Feature is nothing but a column which we are going to use for prediction of the model. Now, in this case, if I take a look at this problem, is weather or maybe temperature actually a feature for this problem? So let's say the problem is predicting future sales. So can I use weather data or temperature data or even some random data? Can I use that as a column for this problem? Answer is no. What is a feature? Feature is nothing but any column which is relevant to predicting something which we are trying to predict. So let's say temperature of the location isn't relevant to the sales happening unless it is a let's say in winter certain object gets sold quite a lot. So let's say you are going to Everest, and if the temperature at Everest is very cold, of course the sweaters or the scarves they will sell more. So in that specific problem, the temperature is actually a valid feature. But why is it a valid feature? Because it is actually relevant to what we are trying to predict. So, to summarize one more time, what is feature? Anything which affects what we are trying to predict. And what is feature engineering? Is we select which all features out of the given ones, trying to create new ones, trying to select from pre-existing ones, trying to remove some features which are not really important for the problem. This all process of creating new, deleting pre-existing ones, or selecting more important ones out of the given one. This whole process is called as feature engineering, and the column which is actually relevant in predicting the value we are trying to predict, that column is called as a feature. So until now, you must of course understand that a feature has to be correlated with the dependent variable, or we can call it as a target variable. So what is feature? Anything which impacts the final thing which we are trying to predict. So this is where this thing also works. If there are two features which are almost the same, then we of course need to just select one out of them. Why? Because just one is enough. We don't need two same things trying to predict a dependent variable by using the same features, because even though they are two separate columns, they are just giving us just one source of information, one source of pattern which we use in predicting the value. So this is what it means to be a feature. And once the model is trained, you see, once the model is trained, at the end, feature gets associated with an important thing which is weight. So when the training is done, at the end, you can actually take a look at the feature, which could be the one you have created or the one which was already present in the data as is. So if you take a look at the weight property, you can actually understand how significant is that feature into the final model which we use to do the prediction. So if I have, let's say, 10 features, and out of which we have two features who have very high weight, and if we have, let's say, eight features who have weight which is really close to, let's say, zero, what does it say? Is it says that these eight features are actually not very important to what we are trying to do in our training thing. So who decides this thing? Weight. As you already know until now, the weight thing is learned in the training phase. So when you are now at stage number 6, what you do until now is like you understand, oh, this is what ML modeling does. Machine learning modeling, when we are training ML model, it learns parameters. In other words, they are also called as weights. So some algorithms are actually useful in trying to do the feature importance part, and we'll see those details when we check subsequent lectures on feature engineering. So hopefully you can connect feature to machine learning modeling as well now, and feature engineering as well.